What's up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. Question for y'all. I'm gonna give my point on this, my take on this, but I want to get y'all's take on it. We hear a lot of talk about, particularly in rap music, getting out the hood. Rappers throughout history have always talked about coming up and getting their mama out the hood, getting their family out the hood, and all those different things. But I want to pose a question. Is it cool to come up and leave the hood? Or does it make more sense to come up and work to rebuild the hood and make improvements on the hood? And there's a lot of different dynamics to it, a lot of twists and turns to it. Sometimes people are of the thought process that, hey man, look, it's so messed up in my neighborhood that even if I was to try to come back and build this or establish this, the people would just tear it up anyway. Somebody would break in, somebody would do something like that. And that's unfortunately a pretty logical thought, because we have those issues. You know, we got a lot of envy and jealousy among us, and we got a lot of poverty among us that causes people to commit crimes. So you can kind of understand if people would say, well, man, we're a little apprehensive about coming up and then rebuilding and establish themselves and staying in the hood and trying to make it better. But I'm just of the opinion that that's still a move that we should be found trying to make once we're in position to do so. Now, I will say this, it's not a move that we should be trying to make or obligated to make on our own. It shouldn't be one individual or two individuals. It should be a collective effort between people in the community to say, hey, let's try to pool our resources. Let's try to establish certain businesses and build up the economy in our own neighborhoods and try to beautify our own neighborhoods. I live in a city that is so filled with land and property, and the centrally located area of town is so sought after by real estate people, by people seeking to build and develop in that area, because you are basically 10 to 12 minutes away from everything that's considered to be important in this city. And that area is occupied and inhabited by predominantly black people. So you see a lot of gentrification now. You see a lot of situations where people are coming to the area and are buying up a lot of that old property that we should have got decades and decades ago, and now they're building property on it that's not affordable to the individuals who have lived in that neighborhood. So why can't we do that? Why can't we come together and pool our resources and try to rebuild the hood, create affordable housing for those who may not be able to stay in the expensive properties, but at the same time hold each other accountable and hold each other to a standard that will lead to us not destroying our property. I've seen times where people in the hood, different groups and different organizations, have done what we like to call community cleanups, where we'll go into some of the bad neighborhoods, or they'll go into some of the bad neighborhoods and with a group of people and just start cleaning up, start getting trash up and trying to beautify what is typically an ugly area. And one of the things I notice is that a lot of times when we come into those neighborhoods, it's usually just the organization that showed up to clean up doing all the cleaning up. When in fact, it should also be the residents of that apartment complex, of that neighborhood, saying, hey, oh, these people out here doing this, let's jump in and pitch in. And sometimes they do, but a lot of times they don't. They just watch you clean up. And that is a mindset that we have to reverse. We have to take pride. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, make your own neighborhood a decent place to live. So it's not always about rundown apartments or saying we live in the projects or we live in a bad. If the people collectively work together to keep it clean, to put the onus and accountability on other residents, when you throw down a cup, say, man, pick that up. No, we don't do that here. Then put pressure on the city to fix potholes and not let the trash build up in the trash cans in the apartment complexes. Then a sense of pride can be established, because it's not always about your financial bracket, what your pay grade is. It's about taking whatever it is you have and making the very best of it. So, and that's for people who are still here right now. But if one of y'all hit the lottery tomorrow, a lot of times our first thought is, man, I'm getting out of here, man. I'm finna go to Katy, or I'm finna go to Sugarland. And I'm just naming affluent areas in my city. I'm going to River Oaks. I'm gonna get a house in River Oaks. And that takes away from the, my opinion, the morale, because I really just feel as though we should give a better effort to beautify our own areas, the places we live, and make them better. And when they start to be better, then the morale and the pride raises, and you'll find people checking other folks the same way they do in other neighborhoods. You know, I see people who wouldn't throw a bag or some paper out the window when you're riding through River Oaks, but as soon as you get back to South Park or Third Ward, they'll throw it right out in, because it's like that's what you're supposed to do. And that's a way of thinking that we gotta change. I know people that have made it and then they left the hood, and they didn't leave the hood because they sold out. They didn't leave the hood because they got bougie. A lot of times they left the hood to get away from some of their own friends and family who were just trying to leech off of them. So I understand that different dynamics to it. But I believe that if we collectively come together, pool our resources, we can reverse that traditional pattern of getting out the hood. Let's try to rebuild it and make it better, because that's what the people with the money do anyway. They just come right back to the hood and set up shop and build it up, and they eventually run us out. And a lot of the areas of town that the poor people are in now were once occupied by the affluent. But what happened was, when one black person or one Latino person kind of came up and left whatever hood they left and moved to the area that's the hood now, the people who in that community was like, oh, there goes the neighborhood, and they burnt out. And the next thing you know, a few more blacks and Mexicans came in, and the next thing you know, it's a black neighborhood or a Mexican neighborhood. Then when we come up again a little more from that point, we follow them out there. Nah, let's stay where we at, build up our own, and take pride in that. Let me know what y'all think. Tell me if there's anything I missed or forgot. And like, comment, subscribe. One love.